Hey, what's up? I'm Hennessy. I work remote. I travel often and I'm all about health and wellness these days. And I've been investing in Dominican Republic, building something that really means something to me. I'm creating a life full of freedom, purpose, and a little bit of adventure and sharing it all right here. So if you're into that, don't forget to subscribe and come along for the ride.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited for today's video because I'll be talking through how you can open a bank account in Dominican Republic as a foreigner. And that could be whether you're looking to invest in property or you're looking to open up a business in Dominican Republic or you're just looking to start preparing yourself for a future of you living in Dominican Republic. I'm going to walk you through how I opened a bank account in DR and sort of what that process is going to look like for you. Now, the first question is, can you open a bank account as a foreigner? And the answer is yes, you can open a bank account as a foreigner. You just require an extensive amount of paperwork that's totally doable, and it's things that you would see anyways. Now, the one thing I would say that if you do have a cedula, it makes the process a lot easier. So, if you can get one, I would say go for it. Of course, this is more so like first gen Dominican. You can actually get a cedula because if your parents are Dominican, you can get dual citizenship. So that's a route that you can also take. But in this video, I'm going to walk you through just in general, if you don't have a cedula and you're a foreigner, how you can open a bank account in Dominican Republic. Now, there are a few banks that you can open an account with. Actually, all the banks in DR you can open an account with, but there are a few that are just like well known. The first one being, or at least to me, in my list and how I would like rate them, would be Banco Popular. It's just all over the country. There's an ATM everywhere. It's very well known. You can do online banking, and they have a connection with PayPal. You do also have BHD, which is more of like a local DR bank. They're also very well known, and they actually have like good rates for investing, for home investing in DR. Then you have Scotiabank, which is a Canadian entity, but they are in Dominican Republic. They're also very well known in the expat community. So that's also another bank. However, these are just like the top three in my book of of bank accounts of banks. But you can really open an account as a foreigner with any bank in Dominican Republic. Now, what are the documents that you're going to need as a foreigner is that you're going to need your passport. It has to be valid, which obviously, like, you could be traveling to the country, so it is valid, right? You're going to need a second form of ID. This can look like various things. For me personally, what I used was my social security. So that was my second form of ID. So passport, social security. Then I needed 2 bank statements. So this could be obviously the latest month. You can download them from your online bank in the US or wherever you're at. And you need the 2 bank statements. You also need a letter from your employer saying that you are employed, where you are employed, how much money you're making. And then lastly, you're going to need the last 2 years of your tax return, or at least that's what was required of me. So again, passport, social security, last 2 years of my taxes, last 2 bank statements, and an employer letter just stating that I am employed. Now these were all the paperwork I was required. The other thing I would say is that you cannot open a bank account online in Dominican Republic. You have to go in person. So you would have to have all these papers together and go in person to open a bank account. Now, there are 2 different types of bank accounts that you can open in Dominican Republic. One of them is a savings account, or in Spanish, cuenta de ahorro. And this one you can open usually either in Dominican currency or in USD. And it's actually quite easy to open that. I would say probably like a little easier to open that. And then the second one, it's your checking account or cuenta corriente, which is usually used for transactions, and you can, pay things, or you can have money coming in at a more frequent basis. So these are the two, and that one you can also open in Dominican currency, in pesos, or in dollars. Now, the time it takes for you to open an account in DR, you have to go in person, and you should be expecting to spend a few hours at the bank. It's usually pretty packed. There's usually a line. It usually takes a while to open the account. So don't think that you're going to just go in and out. You will spend a few hours at the bank trying to open a bank account, unfortunately. But after that, it's pretty easy. If it's a savings account, you don't necessarily get anything for it, or you get a book, which is where, like, I don't know, they used to have those in the US, but they don't no more. I used to work at a bank when I was in college. I think my second year of college, in a small bank in Albany. I went to Albany, upstate New York, and I used to work at this really small local bank, and they used to have the little like notebooks it was like a savings. Every time people go and make a transaction, it would like detail it in the book. The same thing in DR, you get a book. Not all of them have it, but some of them do. And then obviously in your checking account, you usually get a debit card, which I do have. See, my debit card. So those are like the things that you would get once you open the bank account. And then after that, you're pretty much like can create your account online if you want to, and pay things through there, manage things through there. Now, me personally, I have 3 accounts in Dominican Republic. 2 of them are with Banco Popular, as you guys see with my card here. I have a checking account with Banco Popular in Dominican currency, pesos, and I also have a savings account in USD in Banco Popular. Now, outside of that bank, I also have a savings account in Dominican currency at another bank that's called Asociación de Ahorros y Préstamos, Asociación Romana de Ahorros y Préstamos. I have a savings account in Dominican currency with them as well. Now, the Banco Popular, the reason I chose that bank myself, it was actually because of its connection with PayPal. Now, I opened my bank account a few years ago, and at the time, the only bank in DR that had a direct link was Banco Popular with PayPal. Now there's a few other banks that do come up on the list, but at the time it was just that bank. And so because of that, it just made it easier for me to decide to go with that bank. Now, the other thing I like about Banco Popular, which I don't know if this is a pro just for them or the other banks also have it, I'm assuming they do, but for Banco Popular, I would say the online banking aspect of it is one of the things that I personally like, because I am somewhat a control freak. I'm kidding, I am not. But I do like to have control of my finances, because if I'm working hard for it, I need to know where my money is going. Okay, I need to know. So because of that, I do like the online banking aspect of it. I pay all my bills through my accounts in Dominican Republic. For instance, I pay the apartment mortgage through my account. I pay it myself. I pay the electricity, I pay the internet, I pay the apartment maintenance, like all those things I pay through online banking. If I also have to pay someone, if I have to pay my cleaning lady, I can pay her online. If someone does a service for me, I always ask, do you have an account that I can just transfer the money there? Because it just makes it easier. Again, I get to have control of me paying and seeing where that money is going, right? So I personally like the online aspect of it. And that's also another reason why I think, Banco Popular is just good in that sense. I will say my one tip is just, they do like to, if they see a lot of movements of money, and I'm not talking about the little movements of money, large movements of money, they do audit you, and sometimes would lock your account, which is a bit annoying, because I'm I gave you guys my taxes, my tax return. Like you're seeing how much money I make, and like you, like no shade, no shade. You know, it's actually tea. I make a pretty good salary. Like this is my money. Like this is not coming out of nowhere. This is nothing shady. I worked hard for this shit. This is my money. Okay, this is I have proof for everything. So it's quite annoying. They do like to me, they have audited me just one time, asked me a whole bunch of questions. I had to send them everything. This was all done via email. Like, that's another thing, too. Like, I don't live in DR. Yes, I go to DR a lot. No judging. But I don't live there, right? So, like, they would email me and say, hey, your account is being audited for XYZ. Can you provide these documents? And again, I'm a bit of a control freak, and I hate when people just do that. So I would just, like, give them a full, like, these are all the documents. Like, I'm not playing with y'all. But yes, there is that component of it. Not to say that you guys are shady, but just, you know, you gotta be careful with what you're doing. So I would say that. So yeah, with the accounts, one thing that I now do is that because I have both accounts, so what I do on a month-to-month basis, in my USD account, I send money to myself. So from here, I use PayPal. I would transfer money to my own bank account in DR. One, that's a form of me saving money for things that I want to do. And two, the money's already in DR. So a lot of the things I do want to do are going to be in Dominican Republic. And if the money is already in the country, it just makes it so much easier. The other thing I do is that I do send money to someone in DR. They then exchange it for me, and they would put that money into my checking account because that's usually like the money that I pay everything with. Although that account is also in a healthy place. Like if I don't want to send money and I could just like pay things, I mean, if I don't send money, I can still pay all my bills through my checking account because it has a pretty decent amount of money in it. But I don't like to like touch that. I also, in my mind, everything is me saving. Okay, everywhere I'm just like saving, so I just send money all the time. The other thing that I do is that every time I go to DR, obviously I'm taking cash, I'm exchanging it, and I'm putting it into my checking account. Obviously, like this is me thinking into the future, trying to take advantage of the currency exchange at the moment, right? We see now that it's going down a few pesos. So, you know, if you didn't take advantage of when it was like 62, 60-ish, like net right now, we see it decreasing. So every time I go to DR, I usually take a good amount of money within the rights of traveling, right? You cannot, if you take more than 10K with you, you know, you got to pay taxes on it. So remember that. But I usually take, you know, a good amount of money, exchange it, put it in my checking account. So those are the ways that I usually utilize my bank accounts in Dominican Republic. And I think, you know, if you are thinking about investing in DR, but maybe you don't have the money right now to do so, I would also suggest that for you, like open the account, use that as a way to like save and send money to yourself in DR, right? Because if you're sending it to DR, it's going to be hard to like send it back to the US to yourself. It's going to remain in DR, and that may push you a little bit more to utilize that account as a way for you to save money with the purpose of, you know, buying property or investing or doing whatever you want to do. But if the money's already in DR, it's going to make it easier for you, right? You can make moves if something come up. If an opportunity comes up, you can make move. The other thing why this is a pro is that you can build your relationship with the bank, right? Like if you have an account and they see that you have money coming in on a frequent basis, they're going to be more likely to open a credit card for you, give you a loan, a personal loan, or whatever the case is. Of course, again, DR is friendly to outside investors. So if it's to buy a house or to buy an apartment, whatever, you can always get those types of loans for any bank once you like shop around and get the best rate and the best time period for them. But this is also a way for you to build sort of like a credit history with the bank where they can then feel more comfortable just like lending you money. So, you know, if you're thinking about investing in the future, or, you know, you want to invest, but you obviously like don't have the money to do so right now, use this as an opportunity to open that account and start saving money, because it's the little things we do today that will open up the doors that we want in the future, and that would help us be able to obtain the life we want in the future, right? So let's do that. Let me know in the comments which bank you already have or you're thinking of opening a bank account and how was the process for you. And I hope you find this video useful. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. What's up? I'll keep posting the best I can, but I hope this video was super useful for you. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.